2024 season, where we'll see two of the NFL's oldest and most storied franchises. It's the Giants and the Commanders, all that and more, coming up next on EA Sports.
Who would ever thought me get drafted to a team with a historic rivalry, the oldest rivalry in NFL history, and being part of FAMU, the second time the FBS won their first bowl game. We have to remember the roots. Let's go back in time.
Everybody to beautiful Miami and Hard Rock Stadium, site of this year's Capital One Orange Bowl, part, of course, of the college football playoff. It's time now for the quarterfinals, for the top four seeds, a time to begin their quest for the national championship. But they run into a battle-tested team already coming off one playoff victory, trying to shock the world here today and make the semifinals. As we'll see the number 6 seed in this playoff, a group with a lot to prove here today. Taking on the number 3 seed in the playoff, the West Virginia Mountaineers. For EA Sports College Football, I'm Chris Fowler, here in the booth with Kirk Herbstreit. And here we go, a college football playoff quarterfinal game. Only one team here can keep their championship dreams alive.
Let's paint the picture, shall we? Not Florida. This is not Florida State. This is not Miami. This is FAMU playing in the Orange Bowl, the historic Orange Bowl, one of the greatest bowl games ever. We is really the best school in Florida history. And this is our second time being promoted to FBS. We learned from our previous forefathers' mistakes. Let's go back in time.
A&M Rattlers, before their move to the FBS, were among the most storied football programs in HBCU and Florida football history. Being founded in 1907, the Rattlers would play as an independent until 1926, when they joined the Southern Intercollegiate Athletic Conference with fellow HBCUs like Morehouse, Tuskegee, and Tennessee State. It's in the SIAC where they'd win their first black college national title in 1938, the first of an eventual 16, tied with Tennessee State for the most among HBCU programs. They'd spend the first half of the 20th century in the NCAA College Division, essentially Division II, where they'd prove competitive both within and outside of the HBCU sphere, winning an AP College Division national title in 1962 off a 9-1 record. Their year-in and year-out proficiency would eventually lead to their promotion in the newly founded Division I AA, or FCS, in 1978, where they immediately went 10-1 in the regular season, made the inaugural FCS playoffs, and won a Division I AA national title, the first, and as of the 2023 season only, historically black college and university program to do so. The Rattlers, after leaving the SIAC for the Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference in '79 and scoring a win over the Miami Hurricanes, would begin to cool off going into the '80s before storming back into FCS prominence in the '90s, with the hiring of Super Bowl III champion Billy Joe off an NAIA national title winning stint with the Central State Marauders. He'd win his first MEAC title in '95 before bringing the Rattlers back to the playoffs for the first time since they won it all in '78. Billy Joe's Florida A&M would remain a postseason threat for the rest of the 90s, with a deep push in 1999 highlighting a 6-year playoff streak going into 2001, where Florida A&M began dreaming of Division 1A, the summit of college football. The state of Florida would see the rise of 5 across the 90s and early 2000s. The first would be Central Florida, being promoted to the FBS in 1996. A year before their eventual arch rivals, South Florida, established their football program, with the Bulls eventually being promoted in 2001. After Orlando and Tampa came Boca Raton and Miami, with FAU and FIU both creating a football program in the early 2000s, and both being promoted in 2004. These 4 schools would fill out Florida's second tier of college football, each spending the decades following their establishment writing the next chapter of Floridian football. In the middle of this renaissance came a 5th mid-major team, a storied Division II program looking to move to college football's highest level of play. The 4 teams before are still with us in Division 1A, but this 5th program is nowhere to be found. the void a byproduct of the catastrophe their move to the FBS ended up being. This is the story of Florida A&M and their disastrous move to the FBS.
The rise of B'or Stinney, the nation's top-ranked quarterback. B'or Stinney, myself, shocked the world by committing to FAMU over blue blood programs like Alabama, Georgia, and Ohio State. Everyone questioned my decision. Why would a 5-star dual threat demon guy who is 16 years old choose a program that had previously struggled to compete in the FBS? The answer was simple: legacy over comfort. I want to put HBCUs back in the national spotlight. If I go somewhere already winning, I'm just adding on. But at FAMU, I am the start of a legacy. I'm the start of a story. After a failed attempt at FBS competition years earlier, FAMU had offered me an opportunity to become must-watch TV. The best freshman year, the best true freshman year anybody ever can ask for. I got my own magazine, got my own poster, got my own photo shoot, and I was on Vogue, all wearing the house. Back to the Orange Bowl, I am beasting and feasting. Look at me jumping over my own teammates. I feel like the man. I am the star. Everyone loves me.
Now, do we expect him to do that 2 weeks in a row? I'm not sure that's realistic, but as long as he continues to operate at this high of a level, they're going to have a strong chance to win every single week.
He's going to keep it himself. He gets free. And he will dive into the end zone. 70 yards. Touchdown, New York.
And there go me beasting and feasting. Just feeling like the man, making people miss, making 3 defenders miss, slipping and sliding, just having fun in the rain. But then, as I'm having fun, I realize this is not college, this is the NFL. This is a real rivalry. And then, boom, I should have slid. I start remembering the historic rivalry.
You should split the league into 2 divisions.
1932 was the year the NFL added the Boston Braves, now the Washington Commanders, which meant the start of the Washington-New York rivalry. It doesn't always get the same press the other NFC East pairings do, but they technically have the longest-running rivalry in the NFC East.
Beckham has worked Josh Norman today.
Washington beat the Giants in their first ever meeting 14-6, but the fire didn't really start until a few years later. 1937 final regular season game, the winner would take the East. Washington owner George Preston Marshall buses in 12,000 fans and a 150-piece marching band to the game, which was being held in New York.
And paraded them through the city to the Polo Grounds.
The band and their fans belting out their new HTTR fight song along the way. The ploy worked, right? Washington thumped the Giants 49-14 and then won the championship. First playoff game between the two, 1943, Washington winning 28-0.
Swinging Sam, there's Baugh, there's hope.
Hall of Fame quarterback and Washington icon Sammy Baugh retired in the early 50s, so things between the Redskins and Giants cooled. Then 1966 rolled around, pouring it on for Huff, we'll call it. The Redskins beat the Giants in the highest scoring game in NFL history.
The scoreboard flashed and changed like a pinball machine, gone crazy.
But it was the last 3 points scored that added fuel to the rivalry fire. Sam Huff, a Hall of Fame linebacker, spent most of his career in New York, but he left on bad terms. The linebacker ended up in Washington. The Redskins were winning that 1966 contest, 69-41 with a few seconds left, yet elected to tack on a field goal. Washington's Otto Graham said he was just trying to give his kicker some extra reps. The talk after, though, was that Huff talked Graham into it out of spite.
It was fun for everyone but the New York Giants on a day the sky rained football.
The rivalry's intensity really got amped up in the 80s, both teams emerging as NFL elites during the decade will do that.
Plenty long enough. It's good!
From 1982 to 1991, the two clubs won 5 Super Bowls between them and made 6 overall. The Giants even exacting some fight song revenge along the way, even though it didn't stick like HTTR. 1985 was the year of what is known as the Joe Theismann game. Washington fans believing they could have added to their Super Bowl total had Theismann been able to avoid one of the most infamous sacks in NFL history.
I don't believe Lawrence Taylor would have reacted that way unless Theismann is really hurt.
Washington replaced Theismann with Jay Schrader, and he guided them back to the 1986 NFC Conference Championship game, where the Giants were waiting. Second time they squared off in the playoffs, New York wins 17-0 on their way to a Super Bowl victory.
Fans are going to get up into it now, and they're going to make it tough for Schrader. Schrader hands off, and Rodgers is stopped.
2009, the year of the fisticuffs, the tension between the two reaching a breaking point not just once.
Hey, watch these guys square off. It takes the look of a hockey game here for a second as they take the fighting pose to go after each other.
But twice, a fight broke out in both Washington games that year.
That's Moss and Webster. Moss was without his helmet as those two went to the ground.
Odell Beckham Jr. and Josh Norman had their share of fisticuffs when Norman was a Panther.
No funny business today, and do not make a mockery out of this game.
So when he joined Washington, it injected a renewed dislike between the teams.
Meanwhile, on the touchdown run, look at this between Norman and Beckham.
He just grabbed me. I'm like, first drive, it's going to be a long day if you do this.
First significant moment in Giants Commanders 2022 late season game. Winner would be positioned to make the playoffs. Washington rallies late to give themselves a shot at OT, or so they thought.
Illegal formation. Offense number 17. He was not lined up on the line of scrimmage.
You see, he looked over to Carl Johnson over there on that side, the line judge.
And the final play of the game did little to dispel the belief in Washington that the G-men are given preferential treatment. Resentment, a key rivalry ingredient.
Oh, a lot of contact there.
Wow.
A lot of contact.
Last play of the game, Vanna Reed Austin. Boom, I scored. I got my first win on a historic rivalry, bro. I feel accomplished. I'm about to celebrate, do my signature backflip. Actually, let me tell you what really happened.